Hey up lads and lasses, Fletch here from Ultimate Halo, and Halo Infinite is upon us, and god, it looks so good. The future of the franchise is on the doorstep and we are ready for launch later on this year, but I thought it would be an excellent opportunity to explore what investments you can make to make your gaming setup really maximise what Halo Infinite has to offer, both from a gameplay experience and a visual one as well. So without further ado, let's get on with the video.
Halo.
The first thing you need to invest with on this list to up your game and the game's fidelity is a great monitor. Now, I would always recommend doing your research before making any purchase, as each monitor you tend to find has some sort of caveat. But recently I bought a 1440p 144Hz refresh rate monitor, so I can now grind out the Master Chief Collection, and it looks ridiculously noticeable how better it is. Sadly, I can't really show you on this video what 144Hz looks like because YouTube only goes up to 60 frames per second, but pushing out 144 frames at 2K resolution is beautiful, especially on Halo 3. It's one of those things that is hard to articulate until you actually try it, but take my word for it, as someone who was using a 1080p 60Hz monitor before, it's 100% worth the upgrade. So in terms of what you should look out for, you should look for the following. So what type of panel is it? I personally would suggest an IPS panel, as it has faster response times between 1 and 5 milliseconds, which is basically how long it takes for the console or Xbox to hit your screen, and it gives you the upper edge in terms of reactions. Then you need to look at what a high refresh rate is. This means you can pump out more frames out of your game and have a buttery smooth experience. And then a high resolution screen is also key, as games pump out more pixels, meaning that you can see more details. However, if you're working on a 27-inch monitor like me, don't get too carried away, because most people cannot tell the difference of 1440p and 4K at that size. These are the main things you need to look at when you're looking at a monitor, so let's move on to the next one. Now, speaking of ways to maximise your Halo Infinite experience, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring today's video. I'm sure by now most of you know that I don't do ads unless I think the product is genuinely fantastic, and this one fits the bill perfectly. It's tailored for the gaming community, and for you PC gamers out there, let me introduce you to GxControl. It allows you to reduce RAM and CPU usage to whatever you like, and when you compare it to Chrome, it's so much more stable and it requires so much less resources to run, meaning that you can maximise your game's performances whilst watching streams, surfing the web, and so much more. But it does not stop there, and I'm hooked on the ability to be able to open up Twitch and Discord apps right from the sidebar in your browser. You can see who's online at any time, see what's happening with your communities. It's just incredibly convenient. You can also do things such as Facebook and WhatsApp and keep up to date with all of your messages on there. As well as this, you can customize it to your heart's content. There is a free VPN and ad blocker built in. You can also keep up to date with free games, best deals and releases with GX Corner, and so much more. There is a link to this in the description, so go give it a download. Let me know what you think. Go to my Discord server and share with me your experience with the browser, because it is so smooth, it looks great. I personally love it. And don't worry, if you are watching on a mobile device, you can email yourself the download link and it will download itself later for you. So welcome to Opera GX. Welcome customization, welcome limiters, Twitch and Discord integration, and most of all, welcome to the future, and thank you for Opera GX for sponsoring this video. For the third choice on this list, I'd like to cover what kind of build should you get for Halo Infinite. Should you go with the Xbox Series X, or should you get a PC rig? Now, this is tricky because it depends on what your needs are, but I will go off my thoughts and hopefully that might steer you all in the right direction. Now, PC is great if you want to have high frame rates, resolution, and have that extra bit of accuracy using a mouse and keyboard, and it also allows you to do many other things such as stream, use Discord, speak to your friends, and most importantly, the settings of your games and play mods. Now, changing settings is all part of the PC experience, and if you invest in a powerful enough PC, you can ramp up to the max settings and have the best visual experience that is possible. Now, on the other hand, the Xbox Series X looks like a beast, and load times will be great with the super fast solid state drives. The game will likely run at 60 frames per second on there and no more, and if you're not too bothered about having an insane experience, maybe the Xbox might be a better option for you. You can play it on 4K with a large TV, and if you're bothered about the story and less so the hyper competitive experience, this could be the option for you. I'd heavily suggest weighing up the pros and cons for each, but let me know in the comments section down below which one you'll be going for overall. Next up on this list is what hardware from an input perspective should you use. On Xbox of course you're limited to the controller, but on PC you're able to use mouse and keyboard as well as a controller if you desire to do so. The first thing when you are looking at controllers is to ask yourself, are you going to go for a standard one, a SCUF or an elite controller? First of all, what are your needs? Are you more casual? I'd go for the more standard controller and save yourself a bit of money. But if you wanted to be one of the best console players out there, there are controllers that help you step up in that sense. So SCUF controllers and similar brands are all great. They offer great build quality as well as paddles that help you improve your performance. The elite controller comes at a hefty price, but it also allows you to set up different profiles for your controller for different games, which is also tailored to the software on the Xbox One and Series X. So if you want a specific layout for Halo Infinite and then something for a racing game after, you absolutely can do that. When it comes to mouse and keyboard, there are two main types you should look at. So there's membrane, which you normally find your cheap ones are, and the other is mechanical. Personally, I would always suggest going for a mechanical keyboard because the response is always better, it feels nicer, and they generally pick up your inputs more consistently. Then with the mouse, most do the job, but just consider your hand size and what fits you better in terms of the ergonomics, because generally for the price you need to remember that most wired mouse have a quicker input time, meaning that the signal from your click to the game takes place much quicker. Generally some wireless mouses can be very fast, but you pay a lot more money for them, so make sure you do your research on your options. Next on the list is have the right audio setup. Now audio has always been a massive thing in Halo, and we've seen that already with the Halo Infinite gameplay reveal. The music is beautiful, but whether it's the crackle of gunfire, the music in the background, or the ambience from the wildlife in Halo Infinite, we've already been treated to some cool sound tests and other crazy nostalgic scores, so having the right audio equipment will heighten your senses for the game. Maybe not your smell, but nonetheless the audio is still going to be a huge part of any game. I personally have a pair of Razer Nomos and a pair of Astros, but there's a huge market out there for stuff like this and it's well worth investing in. SteelSeries, Sennheiser, Astro, all amazing options, so make sure you do yourself a favour and don't play the game through a TV if you have the choice. Treat yourself and play and hear the game right. The next pick on this list is something to do with immersion, and I've been trying to nail this with my setup for a while, but it's still got quite a way to go yet. It might seem small, but having the right lighting setup for your experience is such a huge difference. Now what I've done with my setup is have LED light strips behind my screens, and this really bakes you into the experience. I personally just keep them on certain colours, but for those PC gamers you can find certain light strips that change colour depending on what's happening in your game. It's such a cool experience, but having an LED backlight on just one colour does help reduce eye strain for those who want longer play sessions to play with their friends online and really get on the grind. For my final pick, this one is less so of a technology, but it's something you'll need to get through longer play sessions, and the right chair, beanbag or any kind of seating is critical to make sure you can sustain playing for a long time. Previously, I used to have a really bad chair and my back was in pieces and I just couldn't stand the discomfort I was in, so these days you can get reasonable chairs for an okay price. I kind of went all out and went on a Secret Labs chair, but I've noticed my productivity and ability to game for longer sessions has gone through the roof. Even if it's a simple beanbag, just make sure you're supported in the right way, and most importantly have the relevant seating for your setup. You don't want a gaming chair for a mounted wall TV, the same way you wouldn't want a beanbag for a mouse and keyboard, so do your favour and invest in this for the game. So what did you think of this list? Is there anything you need to invest in? Have you already got anything that's good on this list? The hype for Halo Infinite is real. Our time is now, so make sure you make the most out of this game because I feel like it's going to be here for a long time to come. Once again, my name is Jack Fletcher, and thank you so much once again to Opera GX for sponsoring this video, and I will see you next time on the one and the only Ultimate Halo.
Subscribe now to Ultimate Halo for more unfriggin' believable Halo content.